In a bid to bring hundreds of Indians trapped in Taliban-held Afghanistan back home, an evacuation flight from Kabul has landed in Delhi this morning. It was the first passenger flight by Air India carrying over 85 Indians. The Air India flight had departed from Tajikistan, assisted and supported by Indian Embassy in Dushanbe. Other flights are also on the way to India, bringing Indian nationals back home. One of those is an Indian military plane, which is carrying around 160 people. It airlifted more than 20 Afghan Sikhs from Kabul as well. The flight with Afghan Sikhs is expected to land shortly at the Hindon Air Base near New Delhi. It includes Afghanistan's only female Sikh Member of Parliament, Anarkari Honariar, and Sikh MP Narendra Singh Khalsa as well. Afghan Senator Dr. Anarkari Honariar, who is also a human rights activist, has expressed her gratitude to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other organizations for evacuating her along with other Afghan Sikhs from Kabul. The evacuation comes as a relief for anguished Afghan Sikhs living in India, whose families are stuck in conflict-torn Kabul. Last week, there were reports of around 120 Sikh and Hindu families being huddled in a Sikh shrine in Afghanistan's capital city of Kabul.
I'm Anarkali Honariar, member of Afghan Parliament Upper House. Thank you very much. Government of India, Narendra Modi ji, Ministry of External Affairs, Indian Air Forces, Reed Singh Chandok, for lifting us from Kabul and saving my life.
Government India to धन्यवाद करना उम्मीदवारों के हमेशा जिस तरह के साढ़े नाल इन्हां दी कौमत और हमेशा साढ़े नाल इन्हां खड़े हुए हैं फिर भी उम्मीद करते हैं कि जो बाकी बंदे साढ़े नाल हैं उन्होंने वास्ते भी एक उपराला किया जाए ताकत से कि संगत भी निकले.
Hundreds of Indian nationals have to be taken out of Kabul, which is now under Taliban's control. Some 500 odd people are set to return to India on Sunday from Afghanistan through various destinations and flights. India is airlifting its citizens through Dushanbe in Tajikistan and through Qatar route as well. The first batch of 135 Indians who were evacuated from Kabul to Doha over the past few days is also being repatriated to India. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that India is working with international partners, principally the United States, to bring stranded Indian nationals back home from Afghanistan. India has been allowed to operate 2 flights per day from Kabul to evacuate its nationals stranded in Afghanistan. This will be done in coordination with American and NATO forces who are currently controlling operations of the Hamid Karzai International Airport. The Indian Air Force has already evacuated around 180 passengers, including its ambassador to Afghanistan and other diplomats. The Ministry of External Affairs has set up a special Afghanistan cell to coordinate repatriation and other requests from Afghanistan. Joining us on this broadcast now is WION's principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, what more can you tell us? When is this flight expected to land?
Well, Shobit, I'm standing outside the Hindon Air Base where the C-17 will land and is expected to land at around 10 a.m. Indian Standard Time. That's about 2 hours from now. We know that last few hours have been buzzing with activity in terms of the evacuation process by New Delhi. 2 civilian flights from Qatar and Dushanbe landed earlier today here in Delhi, and now, of course, the C-17 is expected to land. This C-17 is, in essence, the landing and evacuation of the Indian nationals and the Afghans is important in terms of the Afghans who are being brought, because the last time a big batch of Afghan nationals was brought on 15th of August. That's the day when Kabul fell to Taliban. Today is exactly 1 week since the fall of Kabul to Taliban, and since then we have seen political developments in terms of Hana Sakani meeting the various stakeholders, Mr. Karzai, Hamid Karzai and Dr. Abdullah. But so far nobody knows what form of governance it will take shape in terms of Afghanistan. We know there is absolutely lawlessness, particularly at the Kabul International Airport. In fact, yesterday saw panicked reports of Indians not present at the location, and there were a series of reports which came from the Afghan media, which of course was later on denied by the Indian side. But nonetheless, after chaotic scenes, this evacuation is essentially very important in terms of the complex conversations India had with its allies and friends in the region for the evacuation. In fact, India has been in regular touch with the Americans, because Americans principally control the airport and the airspace,
right.
And also with the Tajiks, because remember, Kabul airport is not a very big airport, so the planes can't be parked there. So planes have to be parked in Tajikistan, and when the evacuees come at the airport, then the Americans tell that the plane
right.
can be brought here and the evacuation can be started.
That's a very good point, Siddhant. Very quickly for our viewers, could you just tell us how many Indians are believed to be trapped in Afghanistan? How many flights per day is India looking to operate?
Well, essentially, Shobit, a good majority of Indians have been evacuated, not just by India, but also by NATO. Because remember, the civilian flight that has come from Qatar earlier today, these are the people who came from Kabul through NATO, and they are being brought to India. So when the week started, the figure was around 1,600 Indians who had requested New Delhi for the evacuation. Now it looks like the number has gone down. Perhaps around 200 Indians can be expected in Kabul, but that's a likelihood. We can see the number even dwindling below that as well. So largely the big issue of Indians stuck there is resolved. The worry right now is about the Afghans, the vulnerable Afghans, the activists, women, the members of the previous Afghan government who would like to come to India. India, of course, has opened the e-visa system. The Ministry of Home Affairs here in India opened the e-visa system so that these Afghans can come. But it looks like a long-drawn thing, given the fact that no commercial flights can operate there. It is all only military flights that can go to Kabul. And also remember that India had taken the services of Qatar Airways for the evacuation as well, because remember, even sending planes, Indian planes in terms of any civilian planes can be fraught with risk, and that is why the Indian side was coordinating with several stakeholders. But nonetheless, important development in next 2 hours, even as the Afghan MPs are all set to arrive, and this is important in terms of Anarkali Honyar being the first female Sikh MP of the Afghan parliament. She is a celebrity in terms of Afghanistan. She has been very vocal about minority rights, and her coming to India is a strong message of India believing in opening its door to many people, including the minorities in the region.
Absolutely, Siddhant. And the Sikh MP also sent a message of thanks to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well. In fact, for our viewers now, we will be putting out pictures of that Indian Air Force's special repatriation flight. This has 168 passengers who are on their way as we speak to New Delhi. The flight has airlifted 107 Indian nationals from Kabul. And these pictures have been shared by the spokesperson of the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, Arindam Bagchi. These are pictures from inside the flight. And as WION correspondent Siddhant Sidbal has been telling us, the flight is expected to land in New Delhi shortly.